Rain in the Face was a Hunkpapa Lakota Sioux warrior and leader who was a key player in the Battle of Little Bighorn in 1876, where Lieutenant Colonel George Armstrong Custer's 7th Cavalry Regiment was defeated. Rain in the Face was renowned for his valor and strength in combat, and was rumored to have harbored a personal grudge against Custer because he felt that Custer had killed his brother and sister in a previous battle. Some historians dispute this claim, and it's unclear what caused Custer's death. Later, Rain in the Face turned themselves into American authorities and served time behind bars. Following his release, he became a well-known advocate for Native American rights and a frequent participant in Wild West exhibitions, where he would share his combat experiences. To help our community, please make sure to like and subscribe to our channel before we start. I'll tell you a factual story about myself if you're interested. Before I had to use crutches, I was a bad guy. My heart was horrible when I was a hunter and a fighter. But it is good now. The men were scared of me, but the women liked me. Fighting is preferable to eating. Because they were afraid of me, the Reese and Crows looked at their hair every morning to make sure it was still there when I was present. Fear spoke my name, and I was a force to be reckoned with. Harry, aware that Indians enjoy bracking, spoke up. Harry responded, "We want to hear about the time Tom Custer beat you, even though we know you were a tough man. How could you lose to a little guy like Tom Custer if you were so courageous?" Rain scowled in discomfort as a result. He was a robust individual, standing at 5 feet 9 inches and weighing 195 pounds, in contrast to Captain Tom Custer, who was of a smaller stature. After considerable reflection, Rain began to share his perspective on the events, and to our astonishment, he continued to narrate his account of the Custer massacre. He expressed himself with significant gestures and deep emotion, vividly recalling the events of that tragic day. For many years, military officers and government representatives attempted to persuade Rain to discuss the confrontation, but he remained silent. They employed various tactics, including kindness, promises, and even threats. Yet none proved effective. Rain is renowned for having killed Custer, and the poet Longfellow even composed verses about him. It was indeed unexpected when Rain finally recounted his tale. I am documenting it precisely as McLaughlin translated it. Rain recounted that 2 years prior to the significant battle, Gall and Sitting Bull established their camp at Standing Rock. The Native Americans present were united in their opposition to the government. They belonged to the Hunkpapa Sioux tribe and exhibited a remarkable fearlessness. In contrast, the Yanktonais were amicable tribesmen who frequented the agency in search of food and supplies. During our time in the hostile camp, we engaged in various activities such as dancing, racing, shooting, and playing games. We had an abundance of buffalo and deer for sustenance, as well as numerous ponies. I enjoyed considerable popularity among the girls, who would often tease me to provoke my anger. When I became enraged, my instinct was to fight. On one occasion, a girl challenged me to venture to Fort Lincoln and kill a white man. I cautioned her about the dangers, given the soldiers' constant vigilance and the presence of scouts nearby. However, she retorted, asserting that a brave man would not be afraid. If I were a coward, she would seek someone else, someone who had participated in the Sundance. This provocation was one I could not overlook. While the other girls found amusement in the situation, the young men did not share their laughter. They regarded me with fear, and I would have retaliated against them for their mockery. I retreated to my lodge, painted my face black, and armed myself with my gun, bow, and pony. Under the cover of night, I stealthily left the camp and made my way to Fort Lincoln, located 45 miles to the north. I spent 2 days there, waiting for an opportunity to shoot a soldier. I had opportunities to kill a woman or a woodcutter, but my intention was to return with a soldier's brass buttons as a trophy for the girl who had mocked me. Eventually, I succeeded, and she affixed the buttons to her shawl. One morning, I observed the storekeeper and a horse doctor heading to a spring. Long Yellow Hair and his men were riding back, approximately 100 yards away. I charged forward, shot the storekeeper, and struck the horse doctor with my war club. Subsequently, I shot them with arrows and removed some buttons. Long Yellow Hair heard the gunfire and rushed back. I lacked the time to scalp the men I had killed, so a powerful medicine was created by Bull on a hilltop. He transported it back in a bag attached to a coup stick and delivered an inspiring speech. He proclaimed that the Great Spirit had informed him of the approaching soldiers, assuring us that we would prevail against them. His words filled us with joy. The following day, our runners confirmed the soldiers' advance. Sitting Bull instructed the women to set up empty lodges to deceive the scouts. The surrounding brush and the river's bend concealed our actual lodges. Sitting Bull then departed to prepare more medicine and did not return until the battle concluded. Although he was a great chief, he did not participate in the fight that day. Gall held the position of head chief. Crazy Horse commanded the Cheyennes, while Goose led the Bannocks. Although I was not a head chief, I led a group of fierce Hunkpapas. We recognized that the soldiers' horses were fatigued and that they had been misled by the empty lodges, believing us to be merely a small contingent. We were prepared for their arrival and fought valiantly. We realized they had erred when they divided their forces. Gall led the majority of the Indians upriver to intercept them. When we noticed the scouts lingering behind with their long yellow hair, we felt a sense of relief. We allowed them to ascend the bluffs, and some of our young warriors flanked them from behind. As we revealed our formation, the soldiers charged, but they quickly retreated under our fire, while our young men behind them opened fire as well. We observed several officers engaged in conversation and gesturing, yet they all appeared quite similar. At that moment, I did not notice any long yellow hair, nor did I later. The sound of the enemy's death song reached our ears. They were aware of our presence. Dismounting, every 4 soldier held the ponies of the others. We advanced towards them, surging forward like a wave upon the sand. We targeted the pony holders and caused a stampede by waving our blankets. Our women successfully captured the ponies, as they were fatigued. I had chanted the war song and inhaled the scent of gunpowder. My heart felt heavy, as if I were devoid of reason. I charged in, seized their flag, and my pony fell lifeless beneath me. I severed the strap, leaped up, and struck the flag bearer with my war club. I returned to our line, proudly holding the flag. I had accomplished a courageous act. Our warriors erupted in cheers, and we continued to fight. The blood and brains of the soldiers splattered onto my face, warm and bitter in taste. Fueled by rage, I acquired a new pony and charged back into the fray, shooting, slashing, and cutting. This pony was also shot, prompting me to find another. It was then that I noticed a small tuft of hair, reminding me of my vow. In a frenzy, I felt no fear, confident that my white weasel-tail charm would shield me. I cannot recall how many I killed in my pursuit of him. He recognized me, and I laughed and shouted in response. I saw his lips move, but the din around us drowned out his voice. He appeared frightened. When I drew near enough, I shot him with my revolver. My gun was lost to me. I do not know where it went. I dismounted, cut out his heart, took a bite, and spat it in his face. I then departed, feeling a mix of satisfaction and fatigue from the conflict, which led me to forego scalping him. I had honored my vow, and that was my primary concern. After that, I did not return to the battlefield. The women arrived later, tending to the wounded by killing them, seizing their possessions and removing their boots for leather. In their haste, they even severed fingers to retrieve rings more quickly. They sought the scalp of Long Yellow Hair but were unable to locate him, as he had no uniform and had altered his hairstyle. That evening, we held a celebration featuring a feast and scalp dance. Sitting Bull proclaimed, asserting that his medicine had proven effective, instilling bravery in us. He claimed credit for our victory, yet Gall contested this, stating, "We did the fighting, you merely provided medicine." This disagreement created friction between them. We had the potential to overcome the remaining adversaries on the hill, but the discord between Gall and Sitting Bull hindered our efforts, as both aspired to leadership, with some individuals aligning with each. I remained indifferent to their rivalry, leading my own group without allegiance to either. Exhausted from the fighting, I yearned for the joy of dance. We learned that more soldiers were approaching with heavy artillery, prompting us to move northward. They pursued us until we crossed the border. I remained there until Sitting Bull returned, at which point I accompanied him back. I felt a sense of relief upon returning home. This is my account, one I have never shared with white men before, and I am pleased to have conveyed it to you. When Rain concluded his narrative, I inquired, "If you did not kill Long Yellow Hair, then who did?" He responded, "I do not know. No one knows. It felt akin to battling in obscurity. Mac then asked, "Why was long yellow hair not scalped like the others?" Rain replied, "No one is too brave to be scalped." The women were puzzled as to why they could not find him, speculating that he might have been concealed beneath other bodies. Mac also questioned the fate of Curly, the Crow Scout, who claimed to have escaped. Rain dismissed this, stating, "Curly is a liar. He did not participate in the battle." His pony faltered, prompting him to flee in a cowardly manner. Rain is now approximately 60 years old and remains the sole chief alive to recount the events of the Custer fight. He is capable of writing his name in English, yet he does not grasp its significance. His English vocabulary is limited, although he can comprehend most spoken English. Like many Native Americans, he expresses gratitude for future assistance rather than for past kindnesses. He exhibits bravery but lacks a moral compass. Nevertheless, he honors his commitments, though it requires considerable patience to elicit a promise from him. Even at the age of 60, he retains a strong and imposing physical presence, reminiscent of the idealized Native American depicted in the novels of Fenimore Cooper. Rain's command of English consists of around 30 words, but he struggles to articulate them clearly, despite his ability to understand nearly everything spoken in English. His most commendable trait is his reliability in keeping promises, though it demands a great deal of patience to obtain such assurances from him. I trust this first-hand account provides you with a fresh perspective on the Battle of Little Bighorn during the Great Sioux War of 1876. Please stay tuned for additional videos of this nature. I look forward to sharing more first-hand accounts of various battles, and I wish you a wonderful day until we meet again.